it's Kristin. So since you guys enjoyed part 1 of this so much, I decided I would follow up with part 2, you know, fairly quickly for you. So today should be Saturday that you're watching this. Hope you're having a great weekend. And just kind of as an FYI, you will see me in this outfit and apparel again on Tuesday. I just needed to get a couple of videos filmed this morning, so that's what I'm doing. If you missed part 1 of my stash status for Drugstore blushes, I will link that below. I think I did 16 in that-ish, maybe, in that one, and I have a few more to go through today. So I'm going to try to be fairly quick while still giving you good information. So, alright, and oh, also, before I get asked, no, I don't have any Wet n Wild blushes in my collection anymore. I had a friend over at one point that was really loving a couple of them, and I clearly have lots of blushes in my stash, so I gave them to her. I do love the Wet n Wild blushes. I've talked about them before. They are very pigmented, however, so you have to use them very carefully, and sometimes I think they can be tricky for a beginner because they're so pigmented. Dual fiber brush, something like this, is really good. If you're going to give a beginner some Wet n Wild blushes, I would follow up with a dual fiber brush because I think that will work better for them, but I do love them. I think they're great for the price point. I just don't have any in my collection right now because after I gave them away, I didn't feel the need to repurchase them because, like I said, I have so many. So, just as an FYI. All right, let's go ahead and get started with NYX. Let's start with that. The first one that I have is the only one of these, which is the Mosaic powders, and this is the one in Paradise. And I'm actually wearing this one on top of another one on my cheeks today. Very, very pretty. Very pigmented. It's got some depth to it. You can kind of try to go in one section or the other, but I mean, generally people are just going to swirl their brush in the whole thing. So I do a lot of swirling in the brush. You probably can't tell. Tapping in the top here and then onto my cheeks. So the other blush that I have underneath this one is the one in Pinched. And so this is I believe they've discontinued these. I am not positive on that. As always, I will link below. But I love Pinched. It kind of reminds me of Orgasm from NARS, or there's another one that is escaping me right now. And so that one has some sheen to it. This one, the Mosaic one, comes off pretty matte. This is the one in Peach by NYX, and obviously by NYX. And this one is matte. This one I like. It's pretty, but I feel like it's a little bit chalky. So that is that right there. But it's very nice. And then this one is an Angel. It's a pretty kind of soft mauvey baby pink. And this one, what also matte, isn't as chalky as Peach. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But you know. And then the other thing that I have from NYX, the other one that I have from NYX was actually a gift from Margie, whose Instagram name is Makeup Lover or something. I'll link her below. She's an amazing Instagram. You have to check her out. But anyway, this is in the one in Wanderlust. So it's a really pretty peachy shade, which looks like that. And there that is. That's built up. I did that twice. I like to try to tell you guys when I have to build something up so that you know. Of those, my favorite, I think hands down, would be the one in Pinched. So that's what I intend to do, is show you the favorites of, you know, my favorite one in each of the brands. I think that will be the best way. All right, so the next section that I have is hard candy blushes, and I have 3 of those. They look like this. This is the newest one, and I don't know if this was limited edition or not. This is the one in Sunburst. It's Glow All the Way Ombre Baked Blush. And this actually was sent to me by a sweet subscriber. I think Tika sent this to me, who actually has her own channel now and amazing Instagram and Snapchat. So again, anybody to talk about, I will link below. So there's that one. Stay. Focus, game, focus. And then this one has been a favorite of mine from Hard Candy for a very long time. And this is the one in Living Doll. I always want to say Doll Face, but it's Living Doll. So it looks like that. These ones definitely have some sheen to them, but I feel like Living Doll doesn't have quite as much. And you can see they're very similar. Those 2 shades are very similar. I'm trying to tell in my viewfinder what's showing up and what's not, but it does always seem to look better when I watch it back. And then the last one I have is in Pinup. And again, I used to have more of these and have pared that down a little bit. And this one has it's more of a bronze sort of look, and just gives you a little pretty sort of glow. And I think that the reason they call it pinup is because it's a really nice one to do if you're doing a sort of a kind of an easy eye with a nice red lip. This is the kind of shade that I tend to go towards when I'm doing a red lip anyway. So there again are the shades. My favorite of those, I don't know, it's a toss-up between Living Doll probably and Sunburst, but they are very similar. So either one of those. All right, let's move on to the Maybelline Master Highlight. Now I have 5 of these, and I believe I did a blush discuss on these. I haven't done one of those in a long time. Blush discuss was when I went through and showed you the blushes, talked about them within a particular brand, and then I chose some lipsticks that went with it, if I remember how I did that. Anyway, I'll try to link a few of those below if you're interested. So this top one is the one in mauve. I just talked about this shade in my fall favorites tag. It just makes me happy. What can I say? I just lost the brush out of that one. The next one that I have is in Pink Rose, which looks like that. And there, that is right there. This one isn't natural. And this one is more of a highlight, really. I don't love this one, but it's a little bit of a champagne highlight, which is pretty, but I just don't ever reach for it. This one is in Nude, and again, is more of a highlight. There's a little bit of bronziness to it. You kind of use it to warm up your face as well. And then the last one that I have is in Coral. I didn't wear this at all this summer, and I should have. I really need to do a clean out of sorts. And a couple of people have asked me. I haven't gotten to answering all those comments yet. Maybe by the time you watch this, I will have. There's Coral right there. Hands down, my favorite of these ones is Mauve. By far, beyond a shadow of a doubt. So if I do some sort of a clean out, I just don't know that I will film it. I don't enjoy watching declutter videos, and I don't know. I know lots of people do though, so I'm up in the air about that. All right, lastly, and I know this one's gonna be a little bit longer than the last one, my apologies, but what are you gonna do? The last one is the Milani blushes. So a couple of these aren't around anymore. Some of them are. We'll just go through them. This is the one in Mai Tai. This has been a favorite of mine for so long. Emily Noelle 83 turned me on to this, a lot of us. And they discontinued it, which makes me so sad, but it's just gorgeous. It's matte, it's delightful. That's built up just a little bit right there. Beautiful. Another one from that line that I really liked was Luminous. So I also have Luminoso, which we'll get to, but Luminous was just a really pretty everyday go-to. I'm putting this on twice. It has a sheen to it, but not out of control. Really, really pretty. So then I have 4 of them in this sort of packaging here, which to my knowledge is still available. And this top one here, the very first, is Luminoso. And this, actually, I couldn't find this forever. Lisa SC09 sent this to me so long ago. So that's what it looks like there. Right there. Not sure if I did a finger swatch of that, but there's finger swatches of it everywhere. This is one of the matte ones in Bella Rose. Do you remember when everybody talked about these and now nobody talks about them? And that one, so that is one swipe of that. This is why I don't use this. It's very pretty, but holy moly, do you have to be careful with that. Because, whoo, buddy, it's super pigmented. This one is in Delicioso Pink. Also very, very, very pretty. There you go. The top there. Just your standard bubblegummy sort of pink. And then the last one that I have from that line is Rose d'Oro. Take your pick. Which looks like that. And while I think this blush is pretty, it's right here. I'm not sure if you will be able to tell, but there is some serious sparkle glitter in that. I don't love that blush like everybody else does because I don't appreciate the glitter. Sheen, fine. Glitter, not so much. So my favorite in there, my 2 favorites would be the Mai Tai, and which you can't get anymore, and then the Luminoso. Those would be my favorites. I will, like I did last time, I will put an asterisk by the ones that are my favorites in case you are curious after the fact. And then lastly, I have ones like this. So this one is actually an illuminating face powder, but I use it sometimes as a blush, sometimes as a highlight. Sometimes I use it for a bunch of different things, but I keep it in my blush drawer. So, and you actually are not even going to be able to see that, but it is right there. I really like this. Yeah, it's Amber Nectar. Did I say that? I know that I've talked about this before, but I don't know. There's just something about it. It's a pretty topper, which is what I use it for mostly. So I'm going to actually wipe that one off. That is not going to be one of my favorites, so we'll wipe it off. And then I have 4 of these. Now, I don't know how many of these are permanent and how many of them are not. So this is the one in Tea Rose, and these are matte. What's interesting is that this is swatching for crap, I must say. I do not appreciate how that is swatching, but it's so much prettier on, and it's actually, spoil alert, it's my favorite of all of them, but anyway. So this is the one in Coral Cove, and you can see for these rose ones, they just don't swatch very well. But on the cheeks, they're awesome. Romantic Rose, I like this one too. It's just a pretty neutral one. This one actually is swatching better. All of these, like I said, they really they apply very well. But swatching on my hand, not so much. And then the next one is Flora Passion. So some of these came out before, some of them are out currently. I don't know. I can't keep track. And this one has a little more something to it than it looks like in the pan. I just want to show you, it's that top swatch there. So of those, Tea Rose is by far my favorite. I find it to be the most wearable, but they're all matte. They're very nice. They last pretty well on the skin. Not, you know, not like 12 hours or anything, but they last pretty well on the skin, and they, like I said, they go on a little bit better than they swatch, but we have to work a little bit with them. All right, so I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That was, like I said, part 2 of my drugstore blushes. The next one that you will see will be my international blushes, the ones that have come to me or I have purchased from other countries, that sort of thing. And yeah, that will be, I don't know, in a week and a half, something like that. I'll bring it to you as quickly as I can. All right, on my face today, I have the Revlon Color Stay Foundation, as per usual. I have the Smashbox powder over the top of that. On my cheeks, as I said, I have a combination of NYX Pinched and then that NYX Mosaic in Paradise. And on my eyes today, I have the Maybelline Quad in Stylish Smokes, which looks like this. Mine is the old one, but it's still available. And then on my lips, I have the MAC Lip Liner in Soar. And over the top, is that a lie? Nope, Soar. And then over the top of that, I have the Maybelline Creamy Matte in Lust for Blush, which looks like that. That is everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.